Let me tell you, nothing kicks off a week like finding a big, fat letter taped to your door. One that screams you're in trouble before you even open it. And not just any letter, but the kind that basically tells you you're public enemy number one, all because your little sister decided to draw smiley suns and a lopsided cat with pink chalk out in the driveway. That's right, chalk, not spray paint. But the HOA president, Karen, yes, that Karen, with a haircut sharp enough to slice bread and a voice to match, decided our innocent little masterpiece was a direct assault on the standards of the neighborhood. So, there I am, staring at this letter that reads like some kind of medieval punishment. $50 a day until every last trace of chalk is gone. I mean, come on. It wasn't like we'd tagged the place with gang signs or written out swear words, you know? But Karen comes strutting by, tape measure in hand, looking like she's about to condemn the whole block for not meeting her standards of perfection. She even snapped a picture, no warning, just one of those villain caught the hero red-handed moments. I tried to stay calm. Really, I did. Next thing I know, I'm dialing up the HOA office, asking if I can plead my case. I'm thinking, hey, maybe a little kindness goes a long way. So, I show up for the meeting, actual chocolate chip cookies in hand, hoping the smell of fresh-baked sugar might soften a few hearts. The board member gives me a weak smile, glances nervously at Karen, then stares down at her notepad like she's about to confess to a crime. I read my speech. Chalk washes away with the rain. The kids are on summer break. Heck, we'll stick to whatever hours you want. Anything for some mercy. But Karen doesn't even sit down. Nope. She stands at the head of the table like she's the judge, jury, and executioner, taps her 3-ring binder with her perfectly manicured nail, and just says, rules are rules. I ask, which rule exactly? And she just taps the binder again and says, all of them. The whole room freezes. You could hear a pin drop. A neighbor coughs, another stares at her shoes, and that's it. Nobody backs me up. Nobody even looks me in the eye. Cookies untouched. I walk out feeling smaller than I did in middle school. 3 days go by. That's $150 for those keeping score. And every time I try to sleep, all I hear in my head is Karen's voice. All of them, like a busted alarm clock that won't quit. My little sister asks if she did something wrong, and man, it stings to tell her no when I'm feeling so powerless. But something in me snaps. Maybe it was the rage. Maybe the extra cup of coffee. Whatever it was, I dig out the welcome packet and open up that HOA bylaws PDF. You know the one. Pages and pages of legalese, half of it so dry it might as well be written in sand. But I keep reading lawn heights, trash bins, mailbox placement, until I find it. Article 14:3 says right there, temporary decorative markings for community events allowed with prior notice to the board president. Not approval, just notice. And chalk's even listed by name. My heart does this weird little double beat. I'm suddenly wide awake, flipping through pages like I'm hunting for gold. But I'm not done. There's a section about conflicts of interest. Board officers can't enforce rules that benefit their own property value during a sale. And guess whose house has a for sale sign out front? Karen's. I double-check on the county website, and sure enough, her listing pops up, big, shiny pictures and everything. So she's out here, keeping everything looking perfect, racking up fines, all while trying to make her house look like a magazine spread for buyers. And just when I think I've got enough, I find a real kicker. Fines require a written violation notice with a 14-day grace period before any penalties. 14 days. I got zip. Not a single day. She just went straight to the fines like she was picking apples off a tree. That's when my plan starts to come together. Not violent, not petty, just precise. I draft up a formal notice, temporary decorative markings, dated it for a week earlier and fire it off to Karen's email, CC&G the whole board, and just for fun, the neighborhood Facebook group. I attach screenshots of the bylaws, print out the pages, and highlight every last word. In pink, just like the chalk. I staple it all to a poster board and set it right by the driveway, next to a fresh batch of chalk flowers. Big letters. Article 14:3. And you better believe people notice. Folks start slowing down on their walks, peeking at the poster, snapping pictures. Phones come out, because of course if it isn't on camera, did it even happen? High noon. No exaggeration. Karen storms down the block, heels clicking like thunder. She points at the chalk, her face already red. Remove it or the fines continue. But this time I wait. A couple of neighbors sidle up, phones in hand. I hold up my poster and say, I have a 14-day grace period. Prior notice sent. Also, there's a conflict of interest since you're selling your house. Karen blinks, all the color draining from her face, and then she gets mad. You don't understand procedure, she snaps. And I just grin and say, I read the procedure all night. A neighbor named Louise, who'd been quiet up until now, suddenly bursts out laughing and starts reading the highlighted lines out loud, like we're in story hour at the library. People with dogs stop. Kids watch. Someone in a passing car honks, probably not even knowing what's going on, but makes the crowd feel bigger. Karen tries to grab the poster, but I step back, and Louise just keeps on reading, voice getting louder. Now it's turning into a block party. I pull out my last ace, a reply from the county code compliance office. Just to cover all my bases, I'd emailed them, asked point blank, is washable chalk art on private driveways considered graffiti or a violation? Their reply, it isn't, as long as it's not offensive. So I read that out loud, word for word, as slow as I can. Karen's eyes dart to the security cameras. She's shaking, but she pulls out her phone, and suddenly blue lights show up. She's called the police. For chalk. I know. You can't make this up. The officer gets out, strolls over with this look that says he's seen it all and is so over it. He looks at the driveway, sees a cat, a couple sons, the word happy. He checks out my poster, glances at Karen, and just goes, Ma'am, this is not a police matter. You could hear the laughter ripple through the whole crowd. Someone actually starts clapping. Karen tries to argue, but the cop isn't having it. Then his partner, leaning against the patrol car, asks, is the HOA following their own bylaws? Louise chimes in, guess not. And just like that, the spell breaks. I feel this giant weight lift off my chest. Even the board secretary, who hadn't said a word all day, steps forward and says, we need to review this. She asks for copies, and lucky for her, I've got a neat little packet with tabs ready to go. Karen's lip does this weird twitch thing. The officer reminds everyone to keep things civil, then mutters, almost under his breath, maybe stop finding people for chalk art. Now the whole crowd is laughing, and every phone in sight is recording. It feels like a parade, but with more smug grins and less confetti. That night, the board emails the whole neighborhood. Fines are paused pending review, and all future enforcement has to follow the 14-day grace period. Oh, and get this, no more one-person decisions when there's a possible conflict of interest. Translation, Karen's little HOA throne just got yanked right out from under her. 2 days later, they call a special meeting. And this time, people actually show up. Turns out, they'd all been quietly suffering through Karen's endless citations. The tape measure, the nitpicking about uniformity. Folks start speaking up, sharing stories. The board votes to remove Karen as president for rule violations. The for sale sign in her yard vanished by the end of the week. Rumor has it, the board turn around and find her for having an unapproved realtor lockbox. I guess karma really does keep receipts. Now, chalk art is kind of a weekend tradition. Families come out, draw rainbows and hopscotch squares and tiny little messages, stuff like be kind. Every now and then, when I hose the driveway clean, I remember that first letter, and I feel a slow burn, but then a kind of cool relief. I didn't have to yell. I didn't have to break anything. I just read the rules better than the person who tried to use them as a weapon. Best part is, every time it rains and the chalk washes away, I can't help thinking some power just washes away too. And man, it feels good to breathe again. So what do you think? Did Karen get what she deserved, or did it go too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And hey, if you've got your own wild HOA showdown story, I want to hear it. Let's see whose neighborhood really takes the cake.